On this week's episode of the BS Show, we dive into the Oblivion Remaster and more. Before we jump in, don't forget to stay connected with us on all socials at the BS Show GG. Love what you're hearing? Show your support by liking this episode, dropping a comment with your thoughts, sharing this episode, and subscribing to keep up with all our future content. I'm Blake, and with me as always is Steve. Happy Sunday, everyone. Hope everybody's been having a good weekend, good week as always. My week has been kind of busy with work, and I've had a few doctor's appointments, unfortunately, and that's what kind of happens as you get older. Been playing a bunch of League still. Steve's, I think you're happy with me. You've been telling you I've been playing a lot more TFT, and not necessarily going to say that I'm getting the hang of it, but I think I'm enjoying it a lot more now that I'm starting to understand it a little better. You just saw me. I do think that game that you just watched me play, I think that's the first ever ranked game of TFT that I've ever placed first in. So, I'm not even joking. I mean, I probably only got like 20 games of TFT played overall. So, I'm happy. I'm happy with that. But what have you been up to, man? What games have you been playing this past week?
This week has been pretty busy for me with work, so it's really just TFT. I've just been getting a couple games of TFT here. There's a couple games on sale that I really want to pick up, so I'm been meaning to pick that. Like Yakuza Pirates in Hawaii is I think like 20% off. I have like 10 games on my cart right now, and I'm just like itching to hit the pay now.
You gotta name them all if you have them ready to look at. I want to know what games you're about to buy.
Let me look at my Steam card.
Are they like newer games, or is it like a bunch of older ones?
No, there's some older games. So I have 6 games right now. I have Project Hospital, The Long Dark, Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, and Lost Skies.
The hell is Lost Skies?
Oh, and then I have Tempest Rising, which was a game I guess I added to my cart in Japan, and it's not available in this country, so chilling in my cart still.
Really?
Yeah.
So, the question I want to ask you today, and listeners, if you wouldn't mind giving me an answer to this too. So today we're going to be talking about like a lot of remasters. What game do you wish that they would remaster that hasn't been remastered already?
So this is a tough question. I was actually thinking about it this weekend with everything going on. I think a game I would really, really like to see is Tony Hawk Underground Pro Skater 1 and 2. And then any of the Uncharted series. I would love to see any of the Uncharted series get remastered. I'm a big fan of Uncharted, and being able to replay some of the games that I think got me into video gaming.
You said that's like one of your like most favorite games, isn't it?
Yeah, I love Uncharted. It's my favorite series of all time. It's the first game where I ever felt like I was like playing a movie the entire time I was playing the game. Yeah.
So why Tony Hawk? If I don't know, have you played any like the more recent like skate games or any of the Tony Hawk games that like have been released past those, or no?
So I played up until Underground 2. I think I played 5 a little bit, but it wasn't as enjoyable. I don't know. It's like I think for me it's mostly like a nostalgia thing. It's the one game that I kind of spent like a long time just playing. Like I think I spent an entire summer. I had just moved to it was like right when I moved to our hometown.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anyone, so it was like my first summer there. So literally all I did was just play Tony Hawk Underground Pro Skater 2 all summer, and that's all I did. And I got really, really good at it. It got to the point where it's like I would go like once I like met friends and go over to people's houses and then like, play Tony Hawk.
You fiending for it?
Well, it's like it was funny because it was the first game where I was ever like destroying everyone that I played against, because it's I spent an entire summer just doing it. Like I could wait until the last second and just do one trick and get like 10 million points in one trick.
You abuse the whole manual fucking thing, like doing everything into a manual.
Yeah,
just to keep it going.
And Underground added something where you could get off your skateboard and it would count as your combo.
What?
So even if you were gonna, if you hit the 2 R1 L1, it lets you get off your skateboard and you get like a little timer that to like continue your trick. So like, say you were gonna fall, you could just quickly get off your skateboard, run over to something, get walk and then grind or whatever. So like there's so many things like that you can add, like all those little modifiers when you're grinding, the wall jumps, all wall rides, everything. It's, I don't know, I love Tony Hawk Underground, and I really wish they would. I've gone back and I've replayed some of them, and it's still such a fun game. The ability, the one thing that I really liked about the Tony Hawk Underground games is, I know Skate has this too, where you can kind of just skate around, like you don't necessarily have to do the missions. It's open world or open zone.
Yeah,
you're able to just skate around and do whatever you want, and then okay, I want to do this little mission real quick and get the points. Let me do this. Boom. You're not stuck to like the old games where you would have 2 minutes and that was it, and then you'd have to do everything else.
Do you think like if they ever did make a remastered of that game that they would have to bring the soundtrack to with it? I think that's part of it.
Yeah, I know. Tony Hawk actually came out and said he was going to change what songs are in the game for the new 3 and 4 remastered. And that's, I feel a little bit indifferent about it, because it's like I said, it's I think the soundtrack is so good in Tony Hawk that I don't really feel like it needs a change. I thought it was perfect.
I think was it last week you were talking about how like that's like one of the most iconic soundtracks of like all games too, right?
Oh, 100%. I think that game, like Tony Hawk alone, like that like most of the music that I listened to back then and still continue to listen to is probably just all because of Tony Hawk.
See, I would never guess that you listen to like ska and like rock and shit like that.
Yeah. I love it, man.
I'd assume some reggaeton. For me, I don't know if you remember this game. I'd love to have like a Crimson Skies remaster. You ever played that game? The dogfighting game? Yeah, bro. The airplanes and shit, dude. Me and my dad and hell, even Brett and DJ, we'd just 1v1 each other in that game all the time, dude, and just like maneuvering through like the valleys and the canyons and shit like that, and like dogfighting each other, man, was so fucking fun. I don't know how popular it would be in like today's landscape, but that game, I just had so many memories playing that game, and I thought it'd be like a really cool to, if they had like a more we're able to introduce like online to it and stuff like that, where you're like able to play dogfights against other people. I think that'd be really fucking cool. But I'm sure there's probably already a game out there like that right now. But it was cool, man. Like you had like 15 different like airplanes to choose from, and like they all did like certain things. Like some of them would like shoot out like 6 rockets at you. Some of them had like a machine gun mounted on it. It was just, everything was like kind of different. So you kind of, depending on what the other person was playing, you can kind of do like counter picks and shit like that, just to make it have a slight advantage. But yeah, man, that's what I would choose remaster. So let's cut to the BS and get right into it. There's an article here that talks about Baldur's Gate 3 is pretty much challenged our industry norms and proving that players desire like a deep, complex role-playing games rather than simplified like trend-chasing titles. Oh my god, the publisher of this article goes on and he like criticizes almost like EA and Activision, saying that they're focused more on like the free-to-play battle pass monetization strategies. And on one hand, like, yeah, I do like, deep, role-playing games and stuff like that. But I think like today, I feel like that free-to-play battle pass, monetization strategy is just so popular. And like I said, look at Fortnite, like you said, kind of compare everything like post Fortnite, like that's just how people are making money. I don't think these games can really focus as much on not introducing things like that when that's just all what we're used to. So what do you think about this? I know Baldur's Gate 3 is probably one of your top 10 games. I mean, do you think more games need to be like that?
I kind of agree with what he's saying in terms of like it provides something different, and you do kind of see like the games that do the best. It's when they're swaying away from the norm. Like when you're constantly getting the same thing over and over and over again, even if it's good, like people are going to revert back to what they enjoy. Like I think we saw it recently with like Fragpunk. Like Fragpunk, it was a good game. It was fun. It was enjoyable, but it's like it died almost instantly. And I think a lot of it has to do, it's because it's just a regurgitation. Like, they changed a couple things here and there, but like for the most part, it's still a hero shooter. It's still the same kind of concept. People want something different, want something enjoyable, and I definitely agree with what he's saying.
So you think more games right now that are following that strategy just feel more like copy paste with like very minor changes?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. It definitely feels like there's just too much of the same and not enough variety nowadays in gaming. And then when you do see something different, like, it tends to blow up. Like we saw it recently with Schedule 1. Like, it's something so simple, so basic, but it's like there's
no battle pass, there's no fucking yeah. So what is it that you think though that makes like these CRPGs like just so I guess wanted to be played, like so sought after? Is it just getting lost in the game kind of thing? Because I mean, with Baldur, I know like Baldur's Gate specifically, like there's so many mods and so many different ways to like change it and make it more enjoyable. But it's just like, again, I'm not a big player of these kind of games, so it's like I know you do. So like, what is it that makes them so enjoyable?
It's hard to say. Like, there's so many things that, like Baldur's Gate in general, it's like there's just so much to do. And I think for me, that's what kind of drew me towards Baldur's Gate is, like I said, it's something where every single encounter can be done differently depending on what you're doing. So it's like if you're having a hard time going straight into it, there's a big part in the beginning, the Goblin Camp, and you can completely avoid the Goblin Camp if you just go in and you just poison everyone, and then you don't have to fight everyone. There's like little mechanics you can do, like you can burn ropes, you can set traps, all sorts of stuff that just completely changes the way the game is played. And like stuff like that is like super interesting to me, where it's like you go from like there's only one way to do it, with like every game tends to have like you have to do it this way. Maybe they have like two different options, and like versus like completely changing the landscape of how the game is played,
like being able to do kind of whatever you want in there.
Yeah. And it really is. It's like a really good representation of like a D&D campaign, where it's like you don't in D&D, it's like there's unlimited choices. You can do whatever you want in a D&D campaign. And I think that's one of the really cool things about a game like Baldur's Gate.
So you think more games need to be more like, I guess more games need to be like that, take that kind of approach. I think you've also said it before too, like games need to focus more on being, enjoyable than fucking getting money.
I don't necessarily think it's like it has to be like giving you a million different ways to play the game. I just think it has to be different. It has to be something where it's like it's challenging enough to that you don't just finish it in one go, but at the same time it's like not. I guess it's hard to explain. I'm like trying to think of the words on like how to say this, but yeah, it's I think just different is good. We just don't want more of the same, or at least me specifically. I just don't want more of the same.
Yeah, no, I agree, because like even like with like Warzone, like I'm already burnt out on that. It's just everything like with that kind of play style. It does feel just so very copy pasty. It's like I'm playing another Fortnite, but just different colors and different map, whatever. It all feels the same fucking thing.
Yeah, and even then, like every single lobby that you go into is probably more of the same. Like there's not much difference. Like you're probably going to the same spots every single time you land.
And like so really, like the only difference though between them is just like maybe like the guns, maybe like the graphics more. I'm just thinking like Fortnite, Warzone, Apex. There's really no big difference. It's all the same freaking thing.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So anything else you want to hit on with this, or
no.
Okay, so the Oblivion Remastered comes out, has just come out, and it was leaked that now there's going to be a Fallout 3 remaster. It was leaked on Twitter. There is no specific date when it's going to be released, but I don't know if I'd really be interested in a Fallout 3 remaster. I'm not going to say the game was bad. I just wasn't really a huge fan of it. But you've played the Fallout series, correct?
Yeah, I actually really enjoy Fallout 3, and again, it's like a completely different type of game than it's one of those games where it's like you either like it or you don't, because it's more an RPG rather than like going around just shooting a bunch of things.
Yeah,
but I'm kind of same thing like with you. I'm very indifferent when it comes to Fallout 3. I think in terms of like Fallout specifically, like I enjoyed New Vegas the most. So I would love to see a New Vegas remastered, and I think that's actually on the way.
See, I'm hoping if they were to remaster this, they should, because I know they're working on the new Fallout season. Like, it would be perfect to do like one right after the other.
And I think that's probably why they kind of opted to do the Fallout thing, is because of how well the show did.
Well, the show was fantastic. Dude. I think we talked about that quite a bit before, like just how successful the show is doing. So kind of like on remasters, man. Do you think? I'm trying to figure out how to put this into words. Like I wonder, like, if a lot of these remasters are done because people are just trying to hold on too much to the past. Like, why not just make a newer Fallout? Why go back and make Fallout 3? Like, was it really that popular?
I think it was. I think Fallout 3 was pretty big, but I think a lot of it has to do with nostalgia. It's just people want to play the things that they're accustomed to, and I think that's kind of a large point into like what we were talking about earlier, where it's like you see people that kind of tend to gravitate back towards the things they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
So games like Fortnite are always going to have players because it's the game that people enjoy playing.
It's what they're comfortable playing too.
Yeah.
I mean that makes sense.
But no, I mean it's tough to say. It's like as to why Fallout has done. Or why Fallout 3, why people want to play Fallout 3 in a sense. It's because again, like I said, I think Fallout New Vegas was better. I think Fallout 4 was better, but I know like people going back and replaying Fallout 3. Like there's so many. It's I don't know if you've gone back and like I don't know if you've gone back and like you've replayed some of the older games that we used to play back in the day. It's like it's almost impossible to try and play some of these games the way the mechanics and the movement are. It's incredibly tough, and
you kind of like, wow, games have come so far since like,
like
2000s, early 2000s.
I bought San Andreas a little while ago because it was on sale on Steam. And I think it was like $2-3, and I remember like when I was a kid, I was like blown away by San Andreas. I thought this was like the best like looking game. I thought it was so incredible. I thought everything was so fun, and I went back and I replayed it, and I was like, how did I play this? Yeah, it's like what the fuck? Like the movement sucked. The game looked terrible, and I know we're like spoiled nowadays by games, but no, it was a bit of a shocker to me for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. So to kind of wrap this one up, is it if when they release it, do you think you'll plan on getting it just to see how good it is, or do you think it's just going to be a game you're going to kind of wait to see what the reviews are, and maybe you'll pick it up and give it a shot?
I don't think I'll get it. I think for me, if it's a remaster specifically, I'm not necessarily interested in. If they do a remake and they completely shift the way the game is, then I'll be a little bit more interested in it. I don't know if you ever played like Final Fantasy, but they did a remake of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah,
and it was basically a completely different game. It was more. It wasn't like.
Was like, it
yes,
better?
It was Final Fantasy. It's. I think it's up to the interpretation of the person, because the original Final Fantasy VII was a turn-based RPG. And the new one was a combat RPG, and it's like a little bit more difficult compared to. I guess some of the turn-based ones are kind of hard too, but at the same time, it's like you go from a franchise that's been turn-based the entire time, and then all of a sudden, it's like you're introducing combat RPG. So you're able to fight around, you dodge, you cast your abilities, you can switch characters, you can do all sorts of stuff. But it's like to go from that to this, it's like it's a completely different experience than what you experienced the first time. So if they do something like that, then yeah, that's super cool. And they did something with Resident Evil too, like Resident Evil 2, when they remade it, it was still kind of the same thing, same plot, but like different gameplay, different mechanics, and a couple different little changes here and there. So
see, I'm like the opposite of you though. I think like if they remaster something, it should be almost the exact same, but just updated graphics, because that's the whole point, in my opinion, of like a remaster, right?
If it's a remaster, yes. So I think that's where you get into like the little nuances. It's like, is it a remaster or is it a remake? If it's a remake, then it should be something different versus like if it's just a remaster, then yeah, do the same thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm hopping to this next one. This next one is actually kind of cool. So I didn't even know that companies did this. So in Japan, there's, I think it's called Geo. They have like a cheap PS5 rental service, and months later, like it's still like being super successful. They have over 200 locations renting out consoles at 100% capacity. Now the prices here, converted from yen to US dollars, only go out about, it's like $7 for a whole week. I'm actually surprised to see how popular renting out game systems are. Like, do you think it's like people would rather rent them because it's like, you may not pay, you may not, I'm trying to think how to phrase this. Like, I have my Xbox, right? I bought it for $600-700 a few years ago. Barely have even played it. Callie plays it more than I do. Do you think it's smarter to rent out a system and be like, okay, I want to play, God of War or Spider-Man, but I don't have a PS5, so I'm going to go rent one out for a week and play it, and then whenever I get an itch later on, I'll pay another $7 for a whole week to play a game instead of spending, the $500, $600, $700 on these consoles. So it's like, that's what you think is happening here, or?
I think so, and also it's like I think rentals in general in Japan, it's like way different. Like, you still have like DVD rentals, CD rentals, and like CD shops and all that stuff. I think physical media is just different in Japan. Like, trying to think if like something like that would work in the US is a little bit tough, because it's I would kind of imagine like if someone bought, like, say, rented a PS5, they probably wouldn't return it.
Oh yeah, dude, 100. Yeah, they'd have to come fucking take them to court for it, but I don't think you really can. I mean, it would be like a small claims thing for like a $500-600 thing.
Yeah, but no, I think it's super cool. I definitely, because like you said, getting a PS5 is super expensive, and say there's a game that you really want to play, like say GTA, when GTA 6 comes out, it's not gonna be on PC right away. So it's like you're gonna have to decide. It's like, okay, do I want to go? Say you don't have a console. It's like, do I want to go out and buy a console just to play GTA 6 when it first comes out, or am I fine waiting a year until it comes out? But if you have the option to rent it for like a couple, say like $10, whatever, for a week, you could maybe beat GTA 6 in a week if you really tried. It kind of brings you back to like back in the day when you used to be able to like rent video games, go to like Blockbuster and get a game. And
yeah, look where Blockbuster's at now, though.
Yeah, it's also like I think Blockbuster just didn't transition well enough into the digital landscape, and were, by the time they did transition, they probably made some mistakes and kind of messed themselves up right there.
Well, what probably happened is what happened is exactly what you're talking about. People were renting the games and stuff out or movies and just weren't fucking returning them.
Oh yeah, like I know, like I would have a game that didn't work and I would take it to Blockbuster and switch it. So
you would just go. You would go.
Yeah, like if I had a disc that didn't. Yeah, and I would return the one that didn't work.
Oh my god, dude, you're terrible, bro. Do you think like this kind of only really would work in Japan instead of here in the U.S. just because like the integrity is like totally different?
Yeah, I don't really think that something like that would work in the.
It's kind of sad to say, isn't it, dude?
Yeah.
What do you think about that price point though? Like $7 for a whole week, or you can do a 15-day thing for $12. Like, I'm just trying to do some quick math here. Like, let's just say it was $7 for a week. I mean, that comes out to like cheaper than the price of the console. I mean, granted, you have the console, forever, but you could rent it out for a whole year for like $350, $170, whatever it is. I don't know the exact number on that, but it's.
Well, I think they limit you to how many days you can get it for. So it's like if you, I think it's like 2 weeks max, and after that it's.
So they charge you like $3 per day, for almost $4 per day.
Yeah. So it's like it's cheap at first, but it's like once you have it for so long, it's like instead of just letting you keep it, they're just gonna basically force you to either pay more or return it.
So when you were in Japan for how long? Like a week and a half, 2 weeks?
2 weeks, yeah.
Did you ever take advantage of like a rental system out there, or like, so you said it's like different? Like, I'm just trying to think, like, because I've only been to Japan like one time. I'm just curious, like, how like the whole rental system there is. You're talking about like they still have like CDs and like DVDs and shit like that. Like, were you able to rent any games or anything like that, or what did you really do?
No, they still. So I didn't rent anything, but they definitely still have like a lot of that stuff over there.
That's kind of crazy to think how they, like I said, that we don't have anything like that here anymore, I don't think, do we?
I don't think so.
Everything seems kind of it's more like a subscription base. Like, hey, you can play these like Game Pass. Like, you're kind of renting the games, because I don't know like how long necessarily they're out for on Game Pass. But like, hey, you're gonna pay $10 a month, and you can have access to all these games that you can try out and play. And if you like it, then you can buy it.
Yeah.
Do you think that do you wish that like something like this would make its way to the US though? Do you wish like they made it available to rent these consoles out, or hell, even like rent a PC, instead of going to like a PC cafe or anything like that?
I think it would be super interesting. It's like I said, I just don't really see if something like that would work in the US with how with the way I think most people in the US aren't as, I guess, honest, I would say, as like
just say it, dude. Just say it.
Yeah, it's just a different culture. It's I think it would work, but there would have to be some way to like make it so people are able to hold people accountable. Like if they end up keeping
like signing like a waiver or something like that before getting that, like, hey, you agree to return this, otherwise you'll be prosecuted to the full extent of the law for a minimum of like. Because I know there has to be a certain amount for small claims, so you just like set it as like that amount is what you'd be taking to court for, so you could take them for it.
Yeah, or like hold their credit card for the full amount of the
console. Oh, that's a good idea. Console. Yeah.
But then that's also you're also putting people into a bind where it's like you're charging them for $600 when realistically it's just a $10 transaction, or maybe just hold
if you don't turn it in by X amount of date, you start paying X amount each week until it hits the total cost of the console plus some.
Yeah, it'd be tough to do, but I think that something like that would be cool. We're kind of seeing it now in a sense where it's like more and more of these like little cyber cafes are popping back up, and I don't know if you ever went to them when you were younger, but it's something that you didn't really necessarily think was going to survive past a certain age, but seeing them pop back up, I think, is pretty cool.
Well, I think when we were younger too, nobody thought just like the whole gaming thing was going to be as big as it is now. I remember like always being told, "Oh, stop playing video games. You can't do anything with that." And like look at now, like they're going to be in the Olympics and people are getting scholarships for video games. So it's kind of cool to see like how that's transitioned over the years.
Oh, 100%.
So anything else you want to talk about with these PS5 or rental services?
No.
Okay, so a former Blizzard boss, Mike Ybarra, on X posted that he's not a fan of Oblivion Remastered. I'm going to quote him here. He says, "I'm skeptical about 20-year-old remasters. What was once fantastic, now remastered, will never hold up against modern masterpieces like Elden Ring. The bar has simply moved from safe open-world RPGs to what Elden Ring brought us all. I would love to be proven wrong, but I'm not." So what I kind of take from that is he's saying like, remasters are good, but like they're never gonna be what the game was. And it's like they're never gonna hold, like a remastered version of a game will never hold up to what new games are being released. What do you think about that? Do you think that's true?
I kind of agree and I disagree at the same time. I think the biggest reason I would say I kind of agree with him, it's when you think about like what made games like Oblivion, Skyrim so special. It was the first time that you were able to really freely roam and do whatever you wanted. Like there was no set path. Like you can kind of play the game however you want. But if you kind of go back and you replay some of those games, like the combat is very, very basic. Granted, it's like a super, super old game, but it's like kind of like how we were talking about earlier. It's like if you go back and you replay some of these games, it's like, and you try to compare it to like current gen RPGs, it's like it's not even close. Like yes, they were special and they were great for their time and incredible games that they kind of set gaming forward. But like compared, like a perfect example is like comparing it to Elden Ring. Like yes, they're not necessarily the same type of games, but it's like people are so accustomed to seeing very specific types of games nowadays when it comes to like RPGs, open world RPGs, that it's like I don't really think like these games are going to do well with the current generation. I think it's more so for like our age, people that want to relive and have that kind of nostalgia bug when it comes to gaming.
No, I mean,
Like,
that makes sense, though. That makes sense.
Think about like every game that's been kind of remastered recently, and it's like, yes, it was fun for a bit, but then after a while, it's like it kind of lost its luster. Like,
I remember why I stopped playing this.
I mean, you kind of saw it recently with like World of Warcraft. Like, think about like the first time you played World of Warcraft. It's it was like something that you've never been able to do before.
10 fucking hours in one time.
Yeah, but there's been so many changes to the game nowadays that like even like people that are going back to replaying classic, like they have to add all these add-ons because they're like, it's just not play. They're basically saying it's not playable the way it was it originally was. You have to introduce all these different things that were added on like years and years after to make the game a little bit more enjoyable.
So I mean, but I agree with you 150%, but I just wonder, like, these companies have to know, like, remastered games just aren't going to compete, right? Like, because, like, realistically, like, I think it's pretty fair to say that when you make a remastered game, you're really only appealing to the people who have played it previously and remember what it was like. So it's like, I'm just trying to get in the mindset of these companies of, like, why would you even want to do a remastered version of the game? Is it just to, you know, give something to your fan base, or, like, what is it?
I think so. I think this is more so like, hey, let's get people talking about Elder Scrolls before Elder Scrolls 6.
That makes sense.
I think Bethesda in general, like they saw how well the Fallout show did, and I think that's why they were looking at Fallout, at remastering Fallout, maybe even doing like a new Fallout. But then at the same time, it's like they still have their other IPs with Elder Scrolls. And then they've been talking about Elder Scrolls 6 for a long time, so it's like, okay, let's give them something in the meantime. Let's give them Oblivion, maybe do Skyrim again. I think Skyrim is going to do. I'm surprised they didn't go straight with Skyrim off the bat.
Yeah,
I know. Granted, I think a lot more people think Oblivion was better than Skyrim, but I think Skyrim was just by far the bigger game. Like, I think a big plus too is the fact that it was out on console. Had Oblivion been on console, I honestly don't even know if Oblivion was on console or not. But Skyrim, like I had people that didn't even play video games that I knew in the military that were like all over Skyrim. They were spending hours and hours and hours playing Skyrim, and it's like that's all they would talk about. It's like, oh, I'm playing Skyrim, I'm doing this, I'm doing this.
Isn't that the meme of like took an arrow to the knee started from, right?
Yeah. And it's like then the whole modding community kind of came out, and like it just changed the whole landscape, and it kept the game alive a lot longer than it should have been. But I also think that's a great thing about like online communities. It's like they're able to prolong the lives of these games by introducing different ways to play the game.
So, okay, so to kind of wrap this segment up here, are there any remastered games that you think are better than the original?
Ooh, honestly,
because I can only think of like Dead Space, and that's probably it for me.
That's
anyway.
tough to say because I personally think I'm trying to think.
It's a hard,
because like in general, like remasters, if they're done well, it's like a lot of it is really just making the graphics look better and updating the controls, which in theory makes the game better. But at the same time, it's like, did the remastered version give you the same type of enjoyment that the original did? Like when I recently replayed Kingdom Hearts, I played the remastered version, and it was fun, but like it didn't give me the same level of enjoyment that I got when I first played the game.
Yeah.
And even though like everything has been updated, the graphics look better, the controls are a lot better, and there's more information online that I could look up. But it's like I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the original version, and that for me, that's where it kind of becomes a little bit difficult. It's like, okay, yeah, maybe the remastered is better, but in terms of enjoyment and in terms of like what it brought to me, it
can't beat the original.
Yeah, it's like I replayed Super Mario 64. Like I used to love that game when I was a kid. I played the crap out of Super Mario 64, and I played it on when it came out on the I think it was the Wii U or the Switch, and I replayed it, and it was fun, but again, not the same level of enjoyment. Even though the controls were better, even though the camera was better, because like that's one of those games where it's like the camera was just completely terrible.
Yeah,
like trying to think of like how I used to play games like that was insane. especially with the 64 where you had the little C buttons that you would have the
Dude,
console.
I was just talking about that shit too with the controller for fucking N64, how garbage it was, and whoever fucking decided like that was the layout for a controller must have been high as hell.
Well, I think it was because it's like it fit perfectly in your hands.
Yeah, but you had to hold its like claws, dude. It was such a weird way of having to hold a controller.
But yeah, no, it's hard to say. Like, I think there's some games that could definitely be better, and in terms of like overall gameplay, I would love to see like a GoldenEye remastered and like have them do updated graphics and not change anything about the gameplay. Like this is things like, yes, it's very very basic gameplay, very basic like map layout. Like the shooting was the shooting was great, but it's like in terms of like you don't have like crazy guns, you don't have crazy different things that you can do in the game. It's just running straight basically, but it's like it was fun and it was enjoyable, and I would like to see something like that kind of done. But again, it's like, is it going to bring you the same level of enjoyment that you got when you were a kid and you were doing like a 4-player split screen trying to kill each other? Yeah.
I wonder like what that game would be like if how most of these old N64 games, because I'm just trying to remember like how ass it was to try to aim your guns with the joystick, because like you had to aim with the joystick which was like in the center of the controller, but then it's like you're trying to use the D-pad on the left and like the C button is on the right. It was just such a weird freaking layout, dude.
Yeah, but it's also something that we were accustomed to. Like if you go back, like you were probably pretty competent with an N64 controller. But it's like if you try to do it now, it's like you're so accustomed to the controller layouts from today that it's like, you're like, how the heck did I do? Like I showed my grandpa, he still has his N64, and we were playing I think Smash Bros with my little brother, and he was like trying to figure out how to hold the controller, and he was like, what the heck is this?
I'd love to see people nowadays play with our old controllers, like with like the GameCube, 64, like all that stuff. It's totally different like what they are now.
I think the GameCube was relatively had a really good controller.
Well, they were the first ones I think to like kind of change the way the controllers were, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think the controller layout was really well done for the GameCube. I think in terms of like overall layout, for me it's probably that and like the PS4, PS5 controller.
I'm trying to think of which came first, GameCube or the PlayStation 1?
I think they came out around the same time, if I remember. No, so PlayStation 1 was during N64 era.
Was it?
Yeah, so PlayStation 2, GameCube, and Xbox were around the same time. Then it was 360,
shit, yeah.
And the Wii.
PlayStation 1 came out in 1994, so PlayStation was the first one to innovate like the controller style that we see today.
And it's still very different. Like the PlayStation 1 controller was so much smaller. And it wasn't as heavy. Yeah, it was so much smaller and it wasn't as heavy because it didn't have the DualShock thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of like overall layout, like it was very, it's close to what we have now. Like if you look at the PS5, PS4 controllers, they're a little bit bigger, a little bit bulkier, and it just contorts your hands a little bit better.
Okay, yeah. I honestly I can't remember what I remember the PlayStation original ones didn't originally have the joysticks in the middle there.
Yeah.
But anything else you want to wrap up on this, or?
No, I'm good.
No? All right, so some games that are coming out. You got Kyborg is coming out on April 30th, and then you got MotoGP 25 is also coming out on April 30th. Some games that you guys should check out on Steam that are on sale. You got Rainbow Six Siege is 60% off at $7.99. You got the Halo Master Chief Collection is 75% off at $9.99. And Resident Evil 4 is 50% off at $19.99. And I'm actually about to start playing that game here next. But anyways, that's it for today's episode of the BS Show. If you enjoyed the unfiltered conversations, make sure to share this podcast and to follow us on all socials at the BS Show GG. Also, make sure to leave a comment with what your favorite remastered game is. We appreciate you listening, and we'll be back next week with more straight talk. No BS.